Bull, we're going to talk Guardians. And
not in the playoffs. He won't hit a shot for you.
Oh, crazy.
We'll get to our Guardians topic today after a quick word from FanDuel. The NBA playoffs are in full swing. Every night delivers highlight-worthy performances, major momentum shifts, and can't-miss moments, whether it's a game-winning shot or a breakout player. There's never been a better time to get in on the action. FanDuel makes it easy to stay in the game before tip-off and live with player props, performance trends, and same-game parlays. Fans have more ways than ever to play smart and win big. If you're new to FanDuel, it's the perfect time to sign up. Head to FanDuel.com/UCSS and place your first $5 bet. If it wins, you get $200 in bonus bets. Make every moment more with FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA. Bull, this Friday's game between the Guardians and the Astros is on WKYC.
Yeah.
Make sure you guys tune in to WKYC on Friday. Coverage begins at 7 p.m. between the Guardians and the Astros. Nobody likes the Astros, so make sure you tune into KYC to get a first-hand look at how Cleveland can hopefully beat the poop out of the Astros. Speaking of trades, we just spent some Cavs trades time. Jeff Passan, Solon native, ESPN insider, did a little way too early trade deadline preview, and in terms of the Guardians, he mentioned Carlos Santana and Lane Thomas as possible sell-off candidates if the Guardians fall back a little bit. He said the run differential's in the red right now. They're winning games that may be unsustainable long-term. It was way too early to make any definitive claims, but if the Guardians go the seller's route, Santana and Thomas will be the two most logical guys to part ways with. Bull, do you agree with that sentiment from Jeff Passan?
I guess.
That's exactly what I was going to say. Neither of those guys has much value. I mean, what did the Guardians give up for Lane Thomas last year? I don't even remember. Can you look that up?
Yeah, it was a mid-level prospect. Was it the middle infielder? I'll look it up. I
can't remember. Like Carlos Santana.
My age, dude.
And Carlos Santana's having a nice month, right? He's been playing much better. He played much better.
Alex Clemmie was the top prospect they gave up for him. Jose Tena, Alex Clemmie, and Rafael Ramirez.
Oh, they gave Jose Tena? Oh, yeah. Tena's in the big leagues with Washington.
And Alex Clemmie was the 18-year-old they drafted that year.
Yeah.
The lefty.
So none of those guys are top guys. They wouldn't get much for Lane Thomas. Lane Thomas has not been good for Cleveland. He's been hurt twice this year.
He was good in the postseason.
He was, but this year he's been injured twice, and when he's been on the field, he's been horrible. Right now he's got almost no trade, and he's a free agent at the end of the year.
He got plantar fasciitis.
So he's got almost no trade value. Carlos Santana has zero. Look at that. I mean, look at those numbers.
That is horrific.
He's barely played this year.
Carlos Santana. I don't even know why Jeff suggested the Guardians would sell. First of all, they're not going to fall out of the playoff race. How often, guys? Say what you want about the Guardians. They don't spend enough. Fair. They haven't won a World Series. Disappointing. How many years have the Guardians, in recent memory, not been at least somewhat in the mix at the end of the year? There's been a couple here and there.
Not many.
For the most part, they're always in the mix. They're always in the hunt.
What was it like two? What was
20,
Tito's last year? What were they?
23. They were out. They sold at the dedeadline. Traded Aaron Savali. Jay lost his mind. They got Kyle Manzardo in that trade, so it worked out well. But the Guardians are not going to be sellers. This is the weakest top of the American League I've seen in forever. The Tigers are playing way over their heads. I think they'll eventually come down to earth a little bit. The Yankees have been good, but they're not great either. Everybody else is just kind of near the middle. So I don't think the Guardians are going to sell at all. If they do, they don't have much to sell that would get them anything. And the guys they could trade that would get them a lot in return are guys they're not going to trade. They're not going to trade Cade Smith. They're not going to trade Jose Ramirez. They're not going to trade Stephen Kwan. You're not going to trade Tanner Bybee. Now, there are a couple of guys that if the Guardians happen to be completely out of it, could be interesting on the trade market. The problem is one of those guys is Shane Bieber, and he's probably not going to be back before the trade deadline. He could be. Now that I think about it, he could be. So if the Guardians are somehow out of it, I'd be curious to see what they could get for Shane Bieber because remember, Shane Bieber is essentially going to be a free agent at the end of the year. There's a option for next year with Shane Bieber, but it's a player option. And if he pitches great at the end of this season, he's going to opt out of it. I mean, unless he gets hurt again, he's going to opt out of it anyway. And if he gets hurt, you don't want him. So Shane Bieber could be interesting if he gets a couple of starts before the deadline. Hunter Gaddis and, dare I say, Emmanuel Clase. Now, those are legitimate. Well, Clase especially. If the Guardians were out of it, I would very much consider trading Emmanuel Clase. Now, here's the very important part of this. I don't want the Guardians trading Emmanuel Clase for prospects. I want them to trade him. I want to trade him for guys that are going to play in the big league. I'm okay if those guys are at AAA, but they got to be in the majors when that trade is completed. They got to trade him for major league players or at the very least guys that are immediately ready to play in the major leagues. But if I were the Guardians and I was totally out of it, I would consider trading Clase because you can get a haul for him. He's the best closer in baseball. I know he got off to a slow start this year, but he's right back to where he always is. He's got one of the most team-friendly contracts in the entire sport, and he's under control for a number of years. Teams want closers. Contenders need closers. And the Guardians have a good enough, talented enough bullpen they could get, they could use Cade Smith as their closer or Hunter Gaddis.
And you okay with that?
Absolutely.
What happened to Paul Sewald?
He's been hurt. And he's shot. He's getting old. I like the move. I shouldn't have said I thought he'd be a decent addition to the pen. I would have rather them spent money elsewhere, but it looks like he's shot at this point. So